Today we're talking about Kasmina, Enigmatic Sage in Oathbreaker, what kind of a deck we could build with her, what kind of signature spell we could use, and just generally how good she might be. She's a 3 mana, 2 loyalty planeswalker. Each other planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina, Enigmatic Sage. Now that is really unique, I like that. +2, scry 1. -X, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it. -8, search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this planeswalker. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. There's a couple directions we could take this, but the most obvious and exciting one I think is Planeswalker Tribal, Super Friends. So, her +2 is not particularly good, but if you add +2 to one of your other planeswalkers that only has a +1, or maybe it doesn't have a plus ability at all, now suddenly it could get much better. We could even pick a signature spell that steals their planeswalkers. Blatant Theory steals a permanent from each opponent, and Tempted by the Auroch steals a creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 3 or less from each opponent. Now you're not always going to get planeswalkers with this, but I think on average, maybe you'll get 1 planeswalker and 2 small creatures. That's still pretty darn good for 4 mana. And those planeswalkers you stole are going to be even better on your side with Kasmina. Or you could pick a signature spell with Proliferate to up all the loyalty counters on all your planeswalkers. Thirsting Roots is the lowest mana option you have for that. I really like Serum Snare too. For 2 mana, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If the permanent had mana value 3 or less, Proliferate. Experimental Augury draws you a card, and Unnatural Restoration returns a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand, and both of them proliferate too. We could go with a signature spell that cheats planeswalkers into play off the top of our library, with Genesis Wave, Kamal's Druidic Vow, or Storm the Festival. Or we could focus on a spell that protects the planeswalkers we already have in combat. Illusionist Gambit says, cast Illusionist Gambit only during the declare blockers step on an opponent's turn. Remove all attacking creatures from combat and untap them. After this, there is an additional combat phase. Each of those creatures attacks that combat if able. They can't attack you or a planeswalker you control this combat. This is a really quirky card. I'd love to see how this plays out. It looks like a lot of fun. It might lose some of its power by being a signature spell though, because they can see it coming. An option that's a little bit similar is Mirror Match. Cast Mirror Match only during the declare blockers step. For each creature attacking you or a planeswalker you control, put a token that's a copy of that creature onto the battlefield blocking that creature. Exile those tokens at the end of combat. With this one, you get ETB triggers, and you might actually kill some of their creatures. Holding up 6 mana though, that's a lot. If instead we wanted to focus on +1/+1 counters, or just fractals in general, we could go with Body of Research. For green, 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 blue, 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 create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. Bioshift is a neat little 1 mana instant. Move any number of +1/+1 counters from target creature onto another target creature with the same controller. So you can basically kill one of your fractals and give its power and toughness to one of your other creatures. They will see it coming though because it's your signature spell, so it loses some of its power there. Still very neat. If you've got a ton of +1/+1 counter creatures, I really love Inspiring Call. For 3 mana, draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, I'm always down for some card draw. If you're still shopping around for Oathbreakers, you can check out one of my many other Oathbreaker videos. And if you have any suggestions for planeswalkers you want made into videos, let me know. I love brainstorming these things. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.